Hi, you've clicked onto today's tropical tidbit for Wednesday. Here's Hurricane Alex approaching the western coast of the Gulf of Mexico, and he has really strengthened overnight. Recon hurricane hunters a few hours ago found a lowest pressure of 958 millibars, which has since risen to 961, which means the system has steadied out for now. But overnight, over these warm waters, it really got a nice core going and started strengthening. This is a very large storm, and so the winds are a little bit less than what a 960 pressure typically indicates, but a 960 is a solid Cat 3 pressure, and they still have him at a Category 1. He should easily be a Cat 2 right now. I have no doubt that once he comes ashore, if they keep him down at a Cat 1, there's no way there's not going to be Cat 2 approaching Cat 3 winds approaching the ground, because when eye walls approach the land over here, it usually tightens them up, and the winds will catch up with the pressure if they are lagging behind. And Alex's size and the pressures around him, although they are low out in the Gulf, it's not enough to explain Cat 1 winds with a Cat 3 pressure. That's not right. He's probably approaching Cat 2 winds. The plane will likely find an increase. The next one's heading in there in an hour or so. There are some issues, which is why his pressure has risen a few millibars after at the end of the last recon mission. They found a little bit of a higher pressure. You can see there's some dry air in the western core over here, and that's limiting the development of his CDO in his eye, which by now would be much better to find if this dry air wasn't there. It's not surprising to see it in there with Alex having such large circulation. Yesterday I noted it, but didn't think it was a huge problem for his intensification. He hasn't indeed intensified greatly, but he may now be leveling off due to some of this dry air getting in the core over here. And that may be a strong limiting factor. Now, notice where the thing's going. Let's see. Point over here. Look. He's going northwest. And this was a little bit unexpected. All the models over here had him driving west into 24 north. And this is a problem because he is now slowing down and creeping further north in latitude than the Hurricane Center and all these models thought. And here's why. Here's Alex down here. Notice what's going on up here. You have the trough that was initiating the weakness over the Gulf of Mexico, and here's this ridge. Look at how this is the ridge that is supposed to steer Alex towards the west and started to yesterday. Notice how small it is and how far north it is, all the way north in Nebraska and South Dakota over here. That is way, I mean, look at all this room. And it was my idea yesterday, my concern was that Alex could try to make a northwest move right before landfall and sneak closer to the southern periphery of this ridge, which is certainly much farther north than a lot of other storms I've seen cut west into the coast of the Gulf of Mexico. Now, I all but gave up on this idea yesterday afternoon after I saw Alex turn left, because even I thought that the ridge had caught it and it was committed to the coast at that point and was going in around 24 north. But apparently my concerns were still valid in that this ridge is far enough north to allow Alex to sneak northward, and South Texas may still end up getting the better part of this storm over here. The worst winds are in this quadrant, and if it comes up in here, it's going to be a bad day for Brownsville. I mean, it's going to be a bad day for this section of the coastline. And let's go over to Brownsville radar over here. Here's Alex's eye, which is, you can see all this dry air in the core over here is limiting eye wall development, and you can see it's sort of open on the southwest side over here at the end of the loop. Notice the northwest motion again. There's a little bit of a left hook here at the end, which means it may be starting to finally catch the ridge and come into the coast right in here. But you know, these things like to sneak around the Rio Grande River over here, and you could see it try to pull another northwest move and go in. We'll see how that works, but you know, the door is open again for U.S. landfall. But with a storm this large, it doesn't really matter whether it's south of the Rio Grande or north of the Rio Grande. This whole area is still going to get hurricane force winds. You've got hurricane warnings from Baffin Bay south all the way down the Mexican coastline over here. And with a circulation this large, tropical storm force winds extend out 200 miles from the center. Hurricane force winds currently up to 60, and this is going to be a nasty day for a lot of people and a lot of rainfall. And the thing is when the ridge isn't strong, this is moving slower, and especially if it tries to sneak up on the coast and gain as much latitude as possible, It's going to end up in a lot of rainfall and a lot of winds battering for a large amount of time. This could try to pull a dolly. If you remember, Dolly in 2008 came up here, and despite all forecasts to go to the west, it instead snuck up and snuck up and snuck up, and then bam, right into South Texas over there, over Padre Island, and as the result was a lot of rain and a lot of wind because of her slow motion. And although she did weaken just before landfall, she was in a deepening phase up to a Category 2, which at the time they did not expect her to reach either when it got over here. And these things can deepen all the way to the coast. You've got very nice outflow around the system. It's a little bit squished over here, but the anticyclone, the upper anticyclone following the storm right into the coast over here, and this is something you do not see often in June. There is almost no wind shear over the storm at all. If it can mix out the dry air, it'll be hard as it approaches the coast because with a large circulation it's going to be entraining a lot of dry air off the continent. But if it can mix some of that out, we could see some additional deepening, especially if it takes a while to come ashore. You notice it still has a while. Still has a while over here to get to shore, and this is a nasty situation for the folks in northern Mexico and South Texas. People in the hurricane warning area should be prepared and should have their supplies ready and should be, you know, I would think about, I don't know, if I were in the path of this right here and I was near Brownsville in this area near the mouth of the Rio Grande, I wouldn't really want to be staying because, again, as this comes ashore, the winds are going to tighten up and catch up to the pressure, and you could see Cat 2 winds approaching Category 3 force at the coast, especially on the islands over here near the coast. So I wouldn't really want to be there, but you know, it's up to everyone who lives there what to do. But this is going to be a nasty situation and a dangerous one. This storm is comparable to Ike in size. Just look at how massive this is. There's going to be a lot of rainfall. You're already getting 3 to 4 inch rain rates per hour over here on the South Texas coastline with this spiral band coming in. And if the storm takes an angle to the coast over here, it's going to mean a longer time of lashing winds. This isn't driving straight west like the models thought it was. This is going to be a longer event, longer landfall event. The entire Texas coastline is going to get rain, and in this area you're going to get a lot of wind and a lot of nasty weather for several hours over here. I don't expect Alex to deepen too much before landfall. This dry air is likely going to be an issue, especially with its large circulation taking more dry air off the continent over here. But it has shown the capability to deepen despite its issues with dry air, so it could still deepen a little more. We'll see what the recon plane finds when it gets in there shortly after I'm done with this video. But right now you can see the eye is still not very well defined, and the dry air may keep the core at bay, and we are lucky that it is doing so because this storm had the capability to deepen even farther than this. If this had come up enough and gone up here, you would have seen it challenge Audrey for the strongest June storm ever. If it had taken this track, it would have been an absolute nightmare. We are very lucky that it is taking this track, and we don't want to say that it's nice that it's hitting these folks over here, but they are lucky that their neighbors up here didn't get a far worse storm, because this could have been really bad. The pattern around it is just really amazing for this time of year to see a storm doing this, and this is a nasty situation for everyone on the South Texas and North Mexico coastline. Hope everyone is ready for this. I'll try to have another update later this evening as the storm nears landfall if I can. Until then, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.